everybody, I'm Rainbow and welcome to Dimensional Walking. Today I wanted to do a little bit of an update to share with you some things that have been happening to me, especially in the dream time as I do my dimensional walking. And it all has to do with the last couple of videos that I've done. The first one was the nefarious. I did a viewpoint of the movie Nefarious. I don't want to say I critiqued it because that's not really what I felt I did. It was a pretty phenomenal movie as far as the acting was concerned, and obviously the theme of possession was what made me decide to watch it, not because I'm fixated on that, but I had some friends who had seen it from work, and they suggested that I should watch the movie, so I did watch the movie. And I found it very interesting. It wasn't like this horror flick where it's all graphic, gory, all that stuff that they do now in movies. It was really a psychological thriller. And the acting was stellar, obviously. So I had done a video on my take on that movie and possession, and then the next video that I did was on necromancy. And what I had decided to do on that video was just kind of to delve into kind of behind the scenes back thousands of years ago with the different rites and rituals that happen and why it's done and all that stuff. So I did a video on that. So this video is kind of more modern day, and it's really my experience with the dimensional walking after doing these two videos. And one thing that Michael and I realized was that we did have a little bit of interesting stuff happening here on the paranormal side, which was the illusion aspect of what necromancy is. A lot of people who do the rites and rituals of necromancy, or a necromancer is actually somebody who talks to the dead. So part of what they try to gain from that, if they're on the dark side, is the knowledge and the illusion, that aspect of empowerment, I should say. And so we did have experiences where Michael thought I was somewhere where I wasn't, and he was wondering how did I get into another location so quickly. And then my cat had come into the bedroom with me and was right by my ankles. And you've seen him. He's the orange tabby coon cat that we have. And then I walked into our bedroom, and there he was on the bed, and it was the real him. He's the orange squishy thing that was in the bed. So I was like, well, what was that walking by my ankles? So we kind of had stuff like that happen, which was really interesting. Nothing that neither Mike and I were concerned with. But when you start talking about stuff like this, stuff like that does happen. But I did have things happen in the dream world. Now, what's really odd is that there was a dream that I had, and it had demons in it, but I can't remember it, which is odd because as a dimensional walker, I remember everything. This one in particular, I cannot remember. But there have been occasions where I have experienced something very odd in my dreams. One dream in particular, which happened many months ago, I actually had gone into, if I mentioned it, excuse me if I didn't mention it, well, here it is, new. I had when I was dimensional walking, I actually teleported into a room. It was modern day, and it was underground. And there was a man and a boy, and the man was very distraught, and the boy was trying to calm the man down. And from what I could take from this view of these two people is that I was not supposed to be there. I was someplace where it was really taboo to be, and I'd witnessed and seen two people who were evidently very dark. They're human. The boy was about 11 or 12, and the man had his hands over his face. He was really upset and angry because from what I had gathered, it was more of a something didn't happen, an event didn't happen, and it was a catastrophic event that he wanted to happen, but it didn't. The boy was trying to calm him down, and he made mention of ashes, which was very strange. Long story short, they find out I'm there, and so there were men from the right and the left, and these were black ops people. They were not just somebody in a dream willy-nilly. It was just like I'm standing there watching these two people, and I realized that I had seen the boy was what I consider the Antichrist, and his father, I don't think he was the devil. I don't think he was Satan, but I believe he understood what his boy was. Anyways, a very tall man came over to actually get me out of this room in this cave, and he was wearing a white shirt and like khaki pants, and he was a tall blonde man, extremely tall. He had to have been, oh my goodness, 7 to 8 feet tall, because when I was looking at him I was looking up, and he immediately, when he came into my view, I knew he was not just an angel, but he was an archangel. He didn't show wings or anything, but he said, I have got to take you out of here now. They're coming for you now. Anyways, what happened was he came down. He said, I love you. And he gave me a kiss, and it wasn't like a passionate kiss. It was like a kiss that you experience like from a father figure, where he's protecting you. And so he what he did is he actually had me, he was doing it. I didn't do it. He levitated me up and then had me lying on my back, and he was pushing me out. And as he was pushing me out of this room, he got shot twice, once in the back and once in the lower abdomen area. But it was he got shot from the back side, and he took the 2 shots, and he was in pain when he took the 2 shots. He took those 2 shots for me. So I knew that I wasn't supposed to see what I did, and that was pretty intense for me. Fast forward to now, where I've done these videos, these last two, or the actual video on the Nefarious movie and then necromancy. I had a dream where I could not remember, because it was full of demons, and that's just not me. I always remember what I experience in the dream world. The second one was very, very interesting. I was in Morocco the morning they had their earthquake. I was there, and I was lying down in a bed, and I was looking out into a room that was kind of dark, and they're all my family. There's family. There are people that I knew, and all of a sudden I noticed there was a pot, and there was a pot that had something very strange on it. It had a lot of markings like the Native Americans do, the symbols, but it had something on it that I'd never seen before. It had 2 ghosts on it. One was a white ghost and one was a dark ghost. And I kind of drew the pot here. It's the outline of each ghost was, the one ghost was outlined in white, the other one was outlined in black. And they were both painted onto this pot with all these other symbols. And I can't exactly remember the symbols because I was so focused in on the ghosts. So I wanted to share this with you. And I'm trying to see if you can kind of see. It's like it's, unfortunately my drawing's a little faint. There you go, maybe there. Okay, so one's white and one's dark. Now I did color one in white and one a little dark, just so you can see the difference between the two. But that's the shape of the pot, and that's what I saw. And then right after seeing this, I experienced a thrusting in the bed where it was going forward and back. It was just like so hard that it knocked the bed from one side and then to the other, and then it stopped. And I'm like going, is this a supernatural event? Is this something strange? Is the ground falling in? What's going on? Because I remember thinking to myself, this doesn't feel like an earthquake, but I kind of sensed that it was. Anyways, I looked around the corner. I think I had gotten out of bed, and I looked out the corner. Everybody's walking towards the doorway, looking outside. The sky was blue, and then all of a sudden, the earthquake started happening really intently. And so I believe there were a few strange things about this earthquake where it started and it was just like it shifted my bed, and then it just started shaking really hard after I had gotten out and looked out towards the doorway. So when I had woke up, I Michael had said to me, did you hear about there was an earthquake in Morocco? And I was shocked. I was there. I was there during the earthquake. Now this next dream I'm going to share with you was very disturbing for me, and it's one that kind of has stuck with me, but I found something very interesting about it. So I was in a building connected to a hospital, and this building had demons in it, and these demons knew I was there, and they knew a few other people were there, and they were coming after us. And they actually looked like humans, but they looked like strange, just kind of disturbed humans. They were all bald, all were very identical, and they all were just nuts. They were just crazy and nuts, and they just almost like they had no empathy. They had no feeling. They were just crazed, and they were walking around looking for not just myself but other people who were there, and I knew that I had to go into a room and hide. So I went into this one particular room to hide, and I realized that I couldn't lock the door because the door was one of those doors that swings open and closed. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to work. So I stepped out of the room, and to the left was another door, and this door led into a hospital. And when I turned to look at a group of this group of demons, they had changed into kind of caricatures of themselves. They were kind of like clowns. But what they were doing was interesting. They had turned on each other, and they were ripping each other apart. It was very graphic, and it caught my attention. I'm like going, oh my God, they've turned on each other, and they were just going to town on each other. Well, a person had opened the door to my left, which was going into this hospital. So before that door closed, I went running and put my hand out, and I remember seeing my hand, kind of like my hand right here. I remember just looking at it and seeing it, and I pushed that door open, and I went through. And then I made sure the door was closed behind me. But I was very worried they were going to break through that door. And I walked through the hospital. It was almost like I knew this hospital. It was almost like it was a place I had been before. I walked through this hospital. I saw women and children and people, and I walked around. I went to the exit, and I just wanted to get out of there. I was just so freaked out by the image of seeing these demons turning on each other and just mutilating each other. So I stepped outside, and it was dark outside. And let me backtrack. Just before I stepped outside, a man came running over to me, and he goes, "Oh my goodness." He goes, "Oh, it's so good to see you." He goes, "I'm so glad you're back." And then he said, "I love you." And I was so freaked out by the image I had seen with the demons mutilating each other that I just said, thank you. And I walked out of the hospital. Well, as I walk out to the front right and the front left are demons in the shadows. And to the left was very ominous looking shadows. And these shadows were giant demons. They were probably 12 feet tall. But they were walking slowly. They almost were, they reminded me of the beings that were created the same time as are archangels. They were, I believe, these were the demons that were cast down from heaven. And I'm not a religious person, but this is what came to my mind as I'm looking at this. These were the ones that were cast down, and they obviously knew there was something different and changing because their own minions were turning on themselves. And so they were walking slowly. There were other groups over here, and I turned face and I walked back into that hospital. And what was interesting is a woman was leaving, and she was dressed as a nurse. And I told her, I said, please be careful out there. I said, it's dangerous out there. And she looked at me really funny, like, what are you talking about? And as I'm walking into the hospital, I'm trying to figure out what I should do. And then I just woke up. And that was just shocking for me to have that experience, to have seen the scenes of these demons, because it was not anything that I expected. And while it was very disturbing, I consider myself a scout, and so I consider myself one of those empaths where I go in and I look, and that's my job. I'm supposed to go in and look and see these things. And what I found interesting about this particular experience was they're turning on themselves. So the message to me is that darkness is turning on itself. I truly believe that something has changed. There's been like a shift. And now darkness is concerned because there's changes happening that not even it expected. Because I don't think that these minions would have turned on themselves otherwise. So there's been a shift somewhere. Something's happened. And so I wanted to share that with you. So I think that's the light. We're battling the darkness, and I think we're making leaps and bounds. So I think that's really important. And so I think with this experience, it made me realize that what I had seen in this particular dream, and then in the other one where I had seen what I consider the Antichrist, the boy who was trying to comfort his father because some calamity didn't happen. I think that I've entered places and done things because as a light worker, I have to go see what's. I call myself a twilight walker. I kind of step into the dark and kind of see what's happening there, but I have enough protection in the light so that I don't have problems. But this last dream I'm going to share with you, I woke up yesterday morning, and so that's why I wanted to share this with you today, this video, not just those other two dreams, but this one. And I'm not one for doing I'm not a prophet. I don't foretell the future or do anything like that. It's not anything about. I don't like the idea of doing that because I don't want anything bad happening, and I don't want to foretell something horrible happening to people. What I'm going to share with you is something that has me concerned, but I don't know what it means, and I wasn't given a timeline, so I'm not even going to say whatever. I wouldn't even if I was told a date, I probably wouldn't say, because I think that there's always that chance of things changing. So this last dream that I had yesterday was nothing demonic. It was actually more me being shown something, and I was above water, and I was above the ocean, and I saw the ocean doing something very strange. I saw it kind of leaping, and then the waves coming over and then pouring in over land. And I remember saying to myself, oh my gosh, that's the Pacific Northwest. Now, I didn't say where. I did see land, and I wouldn't know from looking at it it was almost like I was flying above and looking down at the water going over land. I wouldn't know what the area would be because I saw a lot of trees. But I was shocked when I said that in my dream state, because I'm thinking, how would I know that's the Pacific Northwest? And anyways, I did know. And so I saw all this water coming over, and I woke up, and I was kind of concerned because I thought, well, I was in Morocco when the earthquake happened, so I was hoping that this didn't happen, and it didn't. So I woke up a little scared, a little concerned. I am awfully in the Pacific Northwest, so that does concern me. But that is something that I had yesterday. So as a dream walker, a dimensional walker, and a twilight walker, I am being deluged with so much coming my way in the dream state. And, I'll take some things, and I won't say anything because I don't understand the meaning of any of this. But what I will tell you is I will keep you guys posted on anything more that comes my way, because I feel with these last two videos that I did that I want to report back to you if I'm getting any messages or anything coming my way. So the big news here is I believe that darkness is turning on itself. It doesn't want anybody knowing, but that's what it's doing. That's good news for the light. That's wonderful news. I think that when that happens, unfortunately, it's going to amp up some of the negative stuff that it does. So be on the lookout, be careful, be awake, be aware, be vigilant as far as what you do during the day. And just, I'm not saying look for signs or anything, but just be vigilant. Just look around and get that gut sense about what's happening in the world and where you are in the world, and just keep yourself safe. So that's it for now. I'm just reporting these 3 dreams that I experienced in my dimensional walking. So take from them what you will. If you, in hearing these, if you have something comes to your mind that I might be missing, tell me what you think. If you have had any dreams like these that are similar and you want to share, please do. I would be very interested to know if you guys have experienced the same thing that I have. So thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.